I think it is now time for our superintendent update. Dr. Swift?
We have quite a lot this month during this busy time of April to celebrate. I wanted to point out just a few highlights. One is that each April across the Ann Arbor Public Schools, we join in alongside the Autism Society to bring awareness and to promote understanding and acceptance of those in the autism community. This month-long recognition really helps, and the goal is to break the stigma of those living with autism. As many individuals and families affected by autism understand, acceptance is often one of the biggest barriers to developing a strong support system. Acceptance and inclusion are vital to making certain that all in the autism community can access the resources and support they need to live their lives to the fullest extent possible. During this special month, we were grateful to have been able to offer the screening of the film Swim Team. The Office of Special Education sponsored that event. And there was a discussion that followed with the film director last Thursday evening at Pioneer High School. The movie is the real-life inspiring story of teens with autism who form a competitive swim team. Following the event, we are also able now, trustees, I want to make you aware, to share the film internally. So our teachers in classrooms will be using that film as they have opportunity, and they've included lesson plans that can be used with the film. They've not given us permission to share it again publicly without having to pay another fee. So I just would offer that the movie is on Netflix. And because there were so many events in the district that night, I'm going to have to view it that way myself. So as an additional highlight, many events across the district. You can see here the team at the screening event. They have the coolest shirts ever. Second only to the Freeman shirts, I will say,
right.
Court, of course. An additional highlight, if you haven't seen the photo, is our Lakewood school community is wearing red to show their support for Autism Acceptance Month. Well, it's early in the meeting, and we've already had a great celebration this evening of Earth Day. And Earth Day is every day in the Ann Arbor Public Schools, and yet we get to do some special things during the month of April. We have a long-standing commitment in Ann Arbor to climate and to preserving our planet, and we're so grateful for the support of our community with the passing of our bond and our capital program that we were able to live into those values of the environment. Before the meeting is over, we'll actually be working on construction in and around our buildings, and you will see with all of those endeavors that we're living that commitment to the planet. In classrooms across the Ann Arbor Public Schools, there are so many great activities going on. It was so delightful to hear from Freeman Youth Council and from the Pioneer Solar Team, these environmentally minded student groups this evening. We also I have noted just a couple other highlights, and the risk with these highlights list is that I'm going to leave out some really great ones. So check in at your neighborhood school to see all the other cool ones. But Huron Earth Day was a day of service. The Huron Diploma Program and Career Program student juniors made their way out to Freeman, and they worked to remove invasive species, to lay mulch over cardboard, and to clear trails in preparation for our spring and summer elementary groups that will be working their way through the Environmental Education Center. This is in fulfillment of one of the International Baccalaureate core tenets of service. So we were delighted to hear about the Huron students. Huron English language arts students are sharing creative nature poems on the sidewalk in sidewalk chalk outside Huron at the end of the week on the sunniest day that we get, so their poems don't wash away too quickly. And then Pioneer Earth Day activities just span a broad range, and you heard some highlights from our students this evening. Their sustainability club is really working to reestablish itself post-COVID, and the recycle effort there at Pioneer. Clague is doing virtual field trips. A2 STEAM has been planting and digging and cleaning their playground. I always look forward to A2 STEAM at this time of year because they've been raising their baby salmon, and it's just about time for them to go out and release them into the Huron River. That's a big day at A2 STEAM. Our Rec and Ed before and after school programs have also been taking part. The students are learning to craft and repurpose plastic jars and water bottles, setting Earth Day intentions, conducting an experiment related to cleaning up an oil spill, and exploring different types of pollution through an interactive activity. So I'm so extremely proud of all the activities going on across the district. I'm especially grateful, trustees, that this is not just performance art for Earth Day. It is a fundamental core commitment that we live at every level of the system every day. Just related tangentially, Mr. Lauzzana and Mr. Jason Bean from our facilities team will be presenting at the Michigan School Business Officials Annual Conference coming up next week on April 25th. Their presentation titled Solar Energy in Action in the Ann Arbor Public Schools will highlight our recent solar installations in district schools and share lessons learned and best practices. Mr. Lauzzana engages in a network across the country of districts committed to environmental sustainability practices, and I'm very proud that the lessons we learn get shared across a very wide network, and we are also learning from other districts in this work. A special shout out today to our volunteers across the Ann Arbor Public Schools. I see volunteers here in the audience this evening, and I know many are joining us via Zoom. We're excited to recognize and extend our deepest appreciation to more than 500 AAPS volunteers who dedicate their time and talents to our students. Every day when I stop into schools, I never fail to see volunteers in action, regardless of the time of day that we're by there. I want to thank our parents, our college students, retired teachers, and community members who support our students in the classroom by offering a helping hand to our teachers and just pitching in around school. I want to call out the many bilingual and English language student support volunteers who work alongside our EL teachers to create a welcoming environment for our rapidly increasing English language learner students. I want to thank all of those individuals. I can't imagine, or I can only imagine, what it means to a recently relocated immigrant to be greeted at school by an individual who speaks their language. And many times these volunteers are doing that, including working with the family. What a welcome in Ann Arbor, and that's able to occur a lot of times because of the support of our EL volunteers. I want to give a big shout out, really an unsung role among volunteers is our hundreds of parents and community members who coach our Rec and Ed youth sports teams, and that's all the way from the tiniest guys all the way up. It would literally be impossible to offer our wildly popular sports teams without our volunteer coaches. Special thanks to PTO, event volunteers, and the many other parents and community members who volunteer in a variety of ways throughout the district. Many thanks also to the 7 volunteers sitting at these tables this evening. Trustees, I put you in the category of super volunteers because you have regular hours and duties, as you well know. The spirit of volunteerism is alive in our community. Strong communities are known by the engagement of their citizens. And we appreciate the work of all of our volunteers. Everything you do enhances the student experience and the support of our teams in schools. We just received the word that the Pioneer School Acapela Choir for the 3rd year in a row has been designated as the Michigan School Vocal Music Association 2023 Outstanding Choir. There they are. The choir was selected through a blind audition. So it's not that the judges have favorites. This is all done through blind audition. The two choirs are only 2 choirs from across the state are given this highest distinction, which is the equivalent of a state championship. This choir will perform at the All-State Gala Concert in East Lansing on Thursday, May 11th. And this is the 5th time overall since 2014 that the Acapella Choir has received this designation. I want to call out 2 Pioneer seniors, Connor Casey and Megan Gottfried, were selected as the top small ensemble at State Solo and Ensemble South site. They are recognized as one of the top 4 small ensembles statewide and will also perform at the MSVMA All-State Outstanding Solo and Ensemble Recital. A big shout out to Mr. Stephen Lorenz, who directs the Acapella Choir. Just a great, great job. No tickets are needed, trustees. If you happen to want to head toward Grand Rapids there in May, you're all welcome and invited everyone is to see their performance. Alongside Pioneer, the Huron High Band and Orchestra also excelled at the recent Michigan School Band and Orchestra Association Solo and Ensemble Festival. Huron was the most represented school in the state with 130 solo and ensemble events, receiving excellent ratings in 109 of the 130 events. So they are rock stars, and they received, as proud superintendent, I will point out they received the most of any school participating in the state. Clague Science Olympiad teams, these guys are famous among several famous Science Olympiad teams in the district. They secured first place in the Division 9 regional competition, which qualified the teams to compete at the state level competition on April 22nd at Michigan State University. I had the great opportunity to be over at the robotics building not long ago at U of M and saw them flying their gliders in this multi-story atrium there. It's a very talented team, and I'm really proud of their performance. Now, tomorrow, our students are on a half-day schedule, and I just wanted to share, trustees, that we are nearing the culmination of this year's work in our professional development paths across the district. This year, as you know, and I didn't bring my book tonight, but it's about that work that you all have the book for of Cornelius Minor, We've Got This. And really the focus is on deeply listening to students and designing instruction to make meaningful connections to student interest, cultures, and what is important to our students. So our work to shift our practice this year, the focus is based on the research of Cornelius Minor and the author of We Got This. Tomorrow afternoon, they are called the Building Teacher Learning Networks. They will convene to share their progress toward meeting their goals this year of shifting their practice. And they have been exploring their own equity practices throughout the year. And trustees, I want to note it for your calendar. And the team is working on times of day and locations now. So I'll be sending that to you. The AAPS Equity Expo is coming up on May 2nd. During this time, every Teacher Learning Network group will share their professional learning experiences, their goals and successes in celebration of their hard work and how they've moved along the lines where we're all working of deep listening and learning from our students. We will be sharing more specific invitations with times and locations, but we look forward to bringing back the summary to the board as well. So if you can't make it, trustees, we will be bringing an overview. As everyone, I believe, or most people are becoming aware, we are out on a listening and learning endeavor this spring through April and May. We value the input of our students, families, staff, and community. And the premise of our lesson and learn is very straightforward. And that simply is no one knows better the strengths and the opportunities for improvement than those who live and work and bring their children to us each day in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. So we'll be sharing week by week the link, and we invite you to join in about 3 ways. One way, for those who may not have time for a meeting or prefer a remote option, is to use the link to go into the thought exchange endeavor, and in there you'll be asked to offer thoughts and then also to rate the thoughts of others. So that's one way. A second way is we invite folks to join the parent groups. If you're engaged in a PTO group, in a school-based group, in one of our district-wide parent groups, join in those groups. We're getting out to as many of those as we can. And then thirdly, we are announcing several open community meetings. So for those who just want to come to a particular, we're going to hit all the parts of town. So a particular location, we'll be working through a World Cafe process. Also, this year, our focus is really on hearing those voices that are not always heard. So trustees just designated groups coming up over the coming days. Last week, as you know, we were with Peace Neighborhood Center and with the girls group staff. This week, and looking ahead with the Student Advocacy Center staff, the Community Action Network staff, with our Avalon Housing. I'm really excited about Saturday, May 6th in Nuestra Lingua. Our Saturday school for Spanish-speaking families will be there to listen to families and hear and listen and learn. And then also on May 16th, our newcomer, AAPS Newcomer Fair, focused really on our immigrant and second language families. So we have a lot of dates coming, and we invite everyone in the community to find something that works for you, or let us know if there's something you need that we are not yet touching on. Our communication efforts from the AAPS, we are working really this week with a podcast that highlights our Earth Day activities, our environmental sustainability. Mr. Emile Lauzzana is the guest on the podcast this week. Remember, you can stay up to date with us on Twitter, on Facebook, on our A2 Schools podcast that you can get at Apple Podcast or at Buzzsprout Podcast, and then also on our YouTube channel. And remember, folks, they are producing these meetings in segments also. So remember, you don't have to watch the entire meeting. You can just pick a topic. We would like to share our warmest wishes for an Eid Mubarak, a blessed and beautiful feast coming later this week with all of our students and families, staff, and community members who observe Ramadan. We are also grateful for your partnership and support, working together to support our students, staff, our families in schools in this beautiful Ann Arbor Public Schools community we share. Trustees, I appreciate the opportunity to share the superintendent's report this evening, and it is an honor to serve the Ann Arbor Public Schools. And of course, we're happy for any questions or clarifications, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Swift.